In this video, we are going to solve a very famous machine coding round of interview problem, that is nested checkboxes. Okay, so I was going through the comments on my previous video, and there a student commented that we want a solution for this nested checkboxes problem. Okay, this was the question he wrote. This checkboxes can be nested at n number of levels, and there are functionalities that we have to build. So what I'm trying to say is, if you comment down under my videos, then I pick up problems and solve it in my upcoming videos. So if you have any problem that you want me to solve in upcoming videos, then please write down the comment down a question or whatever you are stuck in. I would love to solve that in upcoming videos. Now we will understand this question a little bit more in detail, but let me walk you through a LinkedIn post. Okay, so I was going through LinkedIn and there was a guy, Anmol Agarwal from SD2 at Uber. He said that this same problem has been asked in Amazon and Flipkart. And when he was working in DE Shaw, he also faced similar kind of a challenge. Okay, he had to develop this feature. So basically, this is a very famous problem, I think, and this is a hard problem also. When I say this is a hard problem, let me tell you, my dear friends, that this problem requires your React skills plus your data structure skills also. Basically, tree data structures is, if you have worked with tree data structures, it would become easy for you. If you are good with recursion, it would be easy for you. If you are not good with recursion and trees, React plus data structure knowledge, if you are not good with React or data structure or trees or recursion, then you would face a lot of problems while solving it. I would suggest you to pause this video over here and solve this problem yourself, try it out and come back and then see how I am solving it. That's the best way to solve. Let me now solve it. Let me first of all explain this problem statement to you. Then we will move ahead and solve the problem. And let me, before I am, solving any problem, let me also tell you, whatever approach I might take in solving this problem or any other problem is just the one solution. Every question can have multiple solutions, multiple ways of solving it. So, whatever I solve in my videos is what is coming to my head at that point of time. So that is what I am writing in code. So that can differ, right? So your solution can be different, my solution can be different. So, try to solve it yourself. But I have seen some people giving me hate in the comments that, Akshay, you are not solving this way, you are solving that way. So, that's what I'm telling you, that everybody can have their own different solution for the same problem. Okay, so I will solve it by whatever is coming to my head. Okay, and then let's go ahead and solve it up. Now, let me just show you this question. If you watch the video, there are 3 problem statements, 3 tasks that you have to do. So you are given a configuration, a sample data, and then you have to form a, generate a recursively nested structure based on given configuration. Okay, so this is the demo which is there. So I opened this link over here, right? So basically, you have to develop this kind of a scenario. Okay, I have zoomed it out for you all. So basically, this kind of a structure with checkboxes we have to develop, where if you check, right? See, now what you have to develop is this kind of a structure out of the data. Now, suppose if you are checking the parent, suppose if I am checking this parent, see, child 3 is parent of child 4 and child 5. See, if I am checking the parent, all the children should also be checked. If I am checking the parent, all the children and nested children should also be checked. If I'm checking the top parent, all the children and all the nested checkbox will be checked. This is the second thing. First, you have to render this. Second step is this. The third follow-up question that will be asked by interview is, suppose if you are checking the children, if you have selected all the children, then your parent should also be checked. Okay, so suppose if you have checked all the children, your parent should automatically be checked. Suppose if you have checked all the children, so parent should automatically be checked, right? So this is a thing and it should work partially, impartially, something like that. See, if I am now, if I am unchecking this child 5, so all the parents have gone now. So this kind of a behavior that we have to build. Now let's go to code sandbox. Now this code sandbox is a new code sandbox that I have opened up in React. Okay, so you can try it out here. Why I choose code sandbox is because most of the time in your interviews, you are asked to solve it on code sandbox or some similar kind of a environment. So always be, whenever you are practicing for machine coding round of interviews, practice it on code sandbox. That's the best way to practice. Okay. So that's a good suggestion for you all. Let me close this sidebar for now. We will write code over here. So, and I have taken a dummy data for you all. Something very similar to this, right? We have parent, children, nested kind of a thing. So your interviewer can give you this data, or the interviewer can ask you that build your own data, right? So something similar would be the data. So this is an array of objects. Each object represents a node. When I say a node, that means this is one node, this is one node. So each of these, this is kind of a tree data structure. For people who don't know much about trees and recursion and all that stuff, please read that out. That would be very helpful for you all. So this is how you build a tree kind of a thing. So here you have an array of objects. Each object represents a node, and each node has an ID and a name and a children, right? So there can be children properties, there cannot be children properties. So see, there is a node fruits, and fruits have children citrus and berries. Now citrus can have children orange and lemon. Now orange and lemon does not have any children, but if you wish to give it, then there can be childrens over here as well, right? But I'm not adding any childrens over here. So this is the data. Now we have to kind of build this kind of a structure. So let's build it up, right? For that, let me write some React code over here. So let's build it up over here. First thing, that is, see, I have not solved this problem beforehand. Just before shooting this video, I have just made this data so that it does not take a lot of time. It's not a time waste for you all and me, like I am boring you with forming data and all. So let's solve it together. By seeing this data, what is coming to my mind is whenever there is a tree data structure and I want to render something like this, I'll have to use recursion. Recursion is must over here. You have to loop through each of these and render it onto the page, right? So that's what we have to do. Whenever there is a recursion, you have to think in an individual node level. Okay. So you have to see that how you would render this tree, this subnode, and then there are child nodes, there are parent nodes. How would you handle that? Let me just show it to you how, right? So let's create a component. This is a child component. This will be recursed. Basically, recursion means you are calling that component within itself, right? That's what is known as recursion, kind of a problem, right? So this is how you do recursion. Let me just show it to you. So I am building checkboxes, or I would say checkbox, right? Basically over here, checkboxes. Okay. So checkboxes is a component. Let me make it as an arrow component. Okay. So see, I might run into issues. I am just solving it right now. So bear with me. I will also communicate my thought process while I'm solving it. Okay. So it has checkboxes. Now checkboxes in an arrow component. What we'll do now is we will pass all this data to checkboxes, right? Now we will pass this data. This is an array. Okay. So this is an array, and for each object, we need to build this kind of a checkbox, right? So how would you do? First of all, we will pass some data over here, right? We'll get some data. Now with this data, I need to return some piece of JSX over here, right? So let me return a div. In this div, what I will do is I'll just maybe map through this data because this is an array, right? So we'll keep checking. This is an array. And over here we have objects, right? So array, and then we have objects. Let me close the children so that it's much visible. See, this is an array and there are 3 objects over here. See this, 3 objects. So we need to basically write a map over here, right? How would we write? Data.map, right? Now this will map through all these, right? And now we will basically, what we'll do is in the map function, we will create these nodes. How would you create these nodes? Data map for each node. What I'll do is for each node, just see what I'm writing, how I am writing, what is coming into my head. I am creating a div, right? For each node, I am creating a div. Now inside this div, I will create my checkboxes, right? So what would a checkbox be? Checkbox is kind of like this checkbox plus this kind of a label or some text, right? So how would we create it? I will create an input box, input type checkbox. So this will give me a checkbox over here. and then I can have a span tag to add that label, right? So either you can use a span tag, you can use label tag also, whatever you wish to, you can use, right? Span tag over here. See, in my span tag, what I will do is I will just have to write, see, this is one node over here, right? So I'm mapping through this list. Now what is there? This is the node, and this node basically is this item, this array. So I would write node.name, right? So I will write node.name over here, right? And what I'll do is return div. What's the problem over here, right? Let me just see. What is the problem? Okay, I think I have not closed it. Okay, so just give me a moment. This map function, and what I'll do is I'll just return my div over here, right? I think I have typed something wrong. This happens, don't worry. So div over here is closed. What's the issue? I think I am not closing or opening things correctly over here. So this is a div. Inside my div I have data.map. I think I have putting this extra. No. So I have my, just a moment, right? Over here I need to do data.map. See, you should be fluent with writing this for each node. What I'll do is I'll just return a div over here, and this div should be closed. Not sure what the issue is here. Div, and then inside this div I can have my input box and span. Not sure what the issue was over there, right? So let me just remove this. Cool. Is it? Cool. Now I think the error is gone. Now see, first of all, let's visualize if it looks good or not. Let me just remove all of it. This is my app component. Over here I will call my checkboxes component, and I will pass in data over here. This data will be my checkboxes data. This checkboxes data is the data that we need, right? Cool. So now as I render it, so it should have probably rendered, right? So it's not rendering. We'll fix it up, don't worry. So over here we have got data. I think this should be like this. Cool. So now this has rendered, because see, I am passing it as a prop, so I'll have to extract it using these brackets. So now see, fruits, tropical and apple has been displayed. Fruits, tropical, apple has been displayed. Now for each of this node, I also want to display children. So basically now I want to display children. How would I do that? For that I will use recursion. See, what I'll do is I have passed this array over here. See this, I have passed this array over here, and it has rendered all of it. Now I will call the same checkboxes component over here. I will call the same checkboxes component, and over here in this data, what I'll do, I'll add children, right? I'll add node.children array, and this will render my children also, right? So this should render my children also. Node.children. Am I writing it correctly? Node.children. Okay. So, right. And now I will only do this. I will only do this when children are there, right? Otherwise, it will throw an error. I will only do this when the children are there. If the children are not there, then it will give an error because node.children not found. So now do you see, we have rendered all these fruits over here, but it is looking very ugly, right? So how can I give it CSS to make it look something like this? What we'll do is, for each parent, right, I can see one more issue over here is, whenever you are using map, always make sure you are adding key over here, right? So first of all, I have not added key. So let me add node.key over here. And node.id, not key, node.id, right? And let's also open the console. If there are some errors in the console, we'll fix it, right? So let me refresh it. Let's see if there are some errors over here in console. See, there are no errors in console. So if there are some errors, we'll keep fixing it also side by side. Okay. So now we have got this key. What we will do now is we want to add some CSS to make it look better. How would I make it look better? First of all, for each of this parent node, right? This is the parent node, right? Let me give it the name parent node. What I'll do is I'll just shift it to the left, a little bit of left. So parent node, and then let me go back to my style. How would I? Oh my God, I have closed this up. Let me open it. Style.css over here. First of all, let's remove this center. I don't want it to be in center. And then I want my parent node to have my padding of 20, padding left of 20, right? And this will make it look better, I guess, right? Let's experiment. Cool. This looks better, isn't it? Isn't it? Is it looking cool, right? So we have fruits. Inside fruits, we have citrus, we have orange, lemon, we have berries, strawberry, blueberry, tropical, mango, banana, and then we have apple and something like that, right? So we have added this CSS. Let's go back. Now let's go to the next thing. See, over here we have input type checkbox, right? So we have basically finished the first thing, right? We have basically finished the first task over here, generate recursively. Now we'll move on to the second task. The second task is, if we are clicking on child, it should select both of these children, right? It should select both of these children also. If we are checking this, it should select both of these. So how would we develop it? First of all, we will have to think about state management. What is coming to my mind over here is, first thing is that we need a central place to maintain, we need a central place where we can maintain the, basically the IDs of, or maybe a list where I can find out whether lemon is selected or not. We need a place where we need to know, right, whether orange is selected or not. We need a state variable where we need to know which item, which node is selected and which node is not checked or selected, whatsoever you may call it as. So, and I need to do it in a central position, right? So if I do it over here, the major mistake I have seen a lot of people making is they don't know where to create state variables. So what is coming to my mind over here is that we will not maintain state of each checkbox over here, right? I will not use a use state over here. Instead, I will make a central state, and to make a central state, I will make it in app maybe, right? So basically I will create maybe a state variable, and I will create a state variable. How do you create it in React? You use state, and then we give a default, right? So now how to store the state, whether which one is active and which one is not active. So basically you can keep it in a very simple object kind of a structure, right? So object something like this, right? So suppose if object, and then you can do something like this. Suppose ID and then true or false, right? So suppose if I say if my ID 1 is selected, if my fruits is selected, that means ID, that means 1 is true, right? Something like this, right? And then suppose if my second is selected, then I can say ID 2 and then true or false, right? If it is false, that means not selected, something like this, right? So we can maintain something like this, right? So, and then we can call this as maybe let's say checked data or something, checked array or checked objects, just checked. Okay, let's call this as set checked. Okay, now what we'll do is, now we need to pass this checked data inside my checkboxes also. In fact, we need to pass both of them, right? Because we might have to modify also. So we pass both of them. So basically checked is equals to checked. We'll pass this as a prop, checked, and then set checked is equals to set checked. Okay, so we'll pass both of these things as a prop. People who are not understanding all of this, if you are not good with React, you will not understand. This is what I am doing is I am passing this as a prop. So this is a state which I am maintaining on parent. I am passing this props. This is known as props drilling. I am drilling these props into my child component. Okay. So people who are not good at React, I would suggest you to go check out Namaste React. If you are not good at React, if you want to brush up your React skills, in Namaste React course, in Namaste React series, I have, taught React in deep, everything, very small things like how do you maintain state, how do you use effect. We have, and I have started from scratch and taught advanced concepts in React, how to scale your application, how to use Redux store, how do you write Tailwind CSS. There are a lot of things that I have covered over there: performance, optimization, how can you make an application faster. So many things. I am just plugging a small promotion of Namaste React, because why not? It's a very amazing course. I have put my heart and soul into building Namaste React. So I would obviously recommend you all. Please go and check that out if you are not good with React skills. People who are good with React skills, then you already know what I'm doing over here. So here I am passing these checked and set checked and set checked over here. So this checked gives me which of these items are checked, right? So basically, suppose this item 1 is true. That means my item 1 should be ticked, right? So how would I do that? So in your input box, there is a variable checked, right? And over here, I will need to add when should that data be checked. So basically what I'll do is I'll get it checked of my node.id, right? So what I'll do is, suppose if my node of ID, that means suppose if my node of 1 is true, that means this input box should be checked. And if, but see this, now what about the others? There is no 2, ID2, ID3, ID11. So what should be done, right? For others, right? Suppose if the data is not present inside checked, for others, just do it false, right? Basically all the others are false, right? They are not checked. So what's the issue over here? Reading 2, cannot read properties undefined of 2. Why it is happening? Because see, checked and node ID false. Why it is throwing error? Because see, I have passed this data over here, checked and set checked, but I have not passed it over here in this recursion, right? So you should be good at finding out errors. Otherwise, things will be messy for you, right? Otherwise, it will take a lot of time for you. You provided a checked prop to a form field without a on change handler. We will add on change also. Don't worry, my dear friends. Okay. So see, now my first ID is true. Suppose if I make my apple, suppose if I want my apple to be also checked. So what I'll do is 11 equals to true. So my apple should also be checked, right? See this, apple is also checked now. So similarly, this is how I will store data. Now, let me just make it empty for now, right? Everything is not checked. Now, let us write code for, suppose if I am clicking on lemon. So now see, it is not doing anything, right? So if I click on lemon, so my checked should be updated, right? I want this to be a controlled component, okay? So if I am clicking on lemon, so my checked should be updated. So how will you do? Again, the same error which is coming up. I have this checked, but I don't have on change. So let's add on change. So basically on change will emit an event, and this event, let's call a function handle change over here and pass an event over here. Let's pass an event over here. Okay. So this is my handle change function. So over here, I will handle my change operation, right? So handle change function. So what I'll have to do is I took this event over here, right? Now I want to basically, now I want to check that item. How would I check that item? I will have to set checked, right? Basically, I will have to update this checked variable. How would I update it? I will do set checked. And then now for people who know React, this set checked will take a previous state. Basically, this will give me a previous state of this checked variable. And then you can update whatever you return over here will be the new state, right? Whatever you will return over here will be the new state. So basically what I can do over here is I can say that, okay, so my, over here I can say, see, this previous right now will be empty object, right? This previous right now will be this empty object, basic state, right? This previous would be right now empty object. But suppose if I have 1 and true over here, right? Suppose if I have 1 and true over here. So what I have to do is I have to, suppose I am ticking on lemon, right? So sorry, my bad. The code is broken. That's why. So suppose if I want to click on lemon. So my lemon should be updated without changing fruits. So what I will do over here is I will first of all create a copy of my checked variable, right? Basically what I'll do is I will create a copy of this checked, right? Basically your previous state. How would you do that? You can say new state, right? New state or new checked. Let's call this as new checked or new state, right? So in my new state, what I will do is, let's write new state. That sounds better. In my new states, what I will do, I will copy the previous state. I will copy the previous state. Now what I'll do is I will add the current state. So see, previous state, this will be added. One true will always be there. And then over here, I will add I will have to add which one I want to check. Suppose the handle change is sending me E. I will also send a ID, right? From here, which will be node.id, right? So this ID basically, suppose if I am clicking on lemon, so it will send me the ID of lemon. So my handle change will basically take E and then ID. And what I can do now is I will set this ID to true over here, or not true, basically e.target.checked. Okay, so if you do e.target.checked, it will tell you what exactly it is, right? And then over here, I will return the new state. When you return the new state from here, so it will update your main state, right? It will update your main state. That's how the set functions work in React. Now suppose, see, let me just check lemon. If I check lemon, see this. Now you can check lemon, orange and something. And now let me just refresh the page, right? So let me just first of all remove this, right? Let me remove this. Let's make it empty for now, or let's keep it. And let me also do a console log of checked state, right? And let's see how this checked behave. And we'll see if everything is working fine or not. See this. Initially, I'm not sure if you are able to see this or not. Can I zoom it? No, I cannot zoom it more. So sorry for that. So see, 1 is true. 1 is true means fruits is true. Now suppose if I am clicking on lemon. If I click on lemon, see this. 1 is true, fruits is true, and my 4 is true. 4 is lemon. If I click on orange, then it will be 3 is true. See this. 1 is true, 3 is true, 4 is true. So now it is basically my checked variable is maintaining it properly. Suppose if I uncheck lemon, so it says that 1 is true, 3 is true, 4 is false. Got it? So this is how we can make it a controlled component. Okay, this is what we wanted. Now we have basically implemented it. Now let's implement a tough scenario. This is the, basic problem statement. If you reach till this point, interviewer can give you a little bit of brownie points, not brownie points. It can give you this is a easy problem to solve, just rendering it. The tough problem starts from here, right? The tough problem starts from here. Suppose if I click on citrus, so my orange and lemon should also be checked. This is tough to implement. For this, you need to know recursion plus a little bit of tree traversal. Okay, so we will see this very shortly. Let's implement it. Okay, so see, basic thing that you have to understand, my dear friends, is suppose if I am checking the parent over here, so I need to take care of all the children. So what I am doing is, whenever I am clicking on any parent over here, suppose I am clicking on this node ID, right? Basically, this is the node ID. Now, what I want is, I want to basically, see, this is the node and I am clicking on this node ID. So what I want is, all the children should also be checked. So what I'll do is, whenever you are clicking on any item, if that item has children, so basically see, whenever I am handling any change, right? Whenever this input box is changed, so if children are there, then check children's also. Okay. So whenever you are setting the checked over here, so basically what I have to do is, if children are present, check them all. What do you mean by check them all? Add all of them to new state. Right? This is what it means. So this is the logic that we have to write. So how would I write this logic? For people who understand it, can quickly write it. Let me just show you how to write that logic. For this also we will need recursion. Okay. So basically, let me write a recursive function. What I'll do is, I am on the current node. Suppose that node is, let me refresh the page. Okay, we have error over here, but we need to write update children, right? So update children. This update children function will take that particular node, right? That particular node, and it will check and it will update the children also, right? It will update the children also. Okay, so how will we get the node also? So suppose if I'm clicking on citrus, so I need this node first of all, right? So how will we need this node? So over here, instead of passing node.id, we can directly pass in node, right? So instead of passing node.id, I can directly pass in node, right? So I can pass the full node, and here I can write node.id. Okay, so this is a slight modification I'm doing. Instead of passing the id, I can just pass in node.id, right? And in fact, we can also, we can directly pass in e.target dot checked from here, right? Why I'm doing so? It makes my function cleaner, right? So over here I'm passing, see, whenever I'm calling handle change, think it like that. It is telling me whether I should check or uncheck, and then which node should I check or uncheck, right? So over here, let me get is checked. Should I check it? Is checked. Is checked. So see, nomenclature is also important. Interviewers look for that. I want to see, whenever I'm changing something, I want to check is checked, is it true or false, and which node I want to check, right? So if that checked, and then I can put pass in over here, so it will behave the same way, right? Orange, citrus, fruits. Now see, now let me let me remove this default behavior and let me show you one thing, right? How will my checked variable behave, right? So see, now my checked is empty. This checked state is empty for now. Whenever I am clicking on citrus, it is saying 2 true, right? It is saying 2 is true. That means citrus is true. But if my children is present, so I want to update my children also. How will I update my children? I will pass in node. I will loop through all these children. So I will do node.children. Basically, see, if I am clicking on this citrus, I will loop through all the children of citrus, children, right? So basically, what are the children of citrus? Children of citrus are orange and lemon. And I will do a for each. For each of my children, for each child, what I will do? For each child, what I will do? I want to add that to my new state also, right? How would I add that to my new state? So basically, my new state of my child.id, right? Of my child.id will become is checked. Will become is checked, right? So if checked is the state. So whenever my node is called, so my is checked will be called, right? So basically it will update my children. Now I have not called this function update children. I will call this function update children, and then I will I will call it with node, right? I will call it with node. I have called this function now. So now let us just see the behavior. Okay, so if I am checking citrus, it will check my orange and lemon. Amazing, right? So if I uncheck my citrus, orange and lemon are gone. If I check my citrus, orange and lemon are doing good, right? So we have implemented it good, but there is a bug in our problem that suppose if I check my fruits, it is just checking citrus and berries. It is not checking orange and lemon. Why? Because we have done the immediate children's, but not the children of children. Basically, your array is nested. So you have to do it recursion over here also, right? You have to do recursion over here also. So what we'll do is, whenever you are updating the children, I have added the new state is checked over here also. And for each children, if the children, right? If that child, suppose I am taking fruit, if that child also has child, then update the children for that also, right? So basically what we'll do is, if the children are present, basically if my child has its children, right? Children, just listen to me carefully. See, it is doing one level, right? Now I want to check if this child, see, fruit is the node. If my child has children, if the children are present, then what should you do? Call the update children, right? Call the update children with the, with that particular node, with that particular child. Okay, so this is what you write. So now update the children of children. also. Okay, so this is recursion. Take some moment and think about it, that why it will work. Just let me check it once. Like, let me just refresh the page and see if it works or not. See, if I click on fruit, see, all of them are checked now. See this, all of them are checked now, right? All the things are working. If I checked on fruits, everything is cool, right? Okay, see, it's failing. Why? Because it's failing because it does not have children, right? I think it's failing because it does not have children. So basically, if my children are, so basically I will have to only update. So because it's saying that, suppose if it does not have children, so basically this will throw an error, right? Because for each will not be there. So you have to fix it. Now everything works fine. Okay, so this is my second problem statement. I have done till here. So see, if you can do till here also in your interviewer might select you, might not select you. But over here, till here, you have to 100% do, otherwise interviewer will not select you, right? If you are able to approach this problem right, then see, because see, this problem is a little hard. A lot of people don't understand recursion. That's the problem, and if you want me to make some videos on data structures and recursion and all that stuff, on tree data structures, because see, in this video, I cannot explain recursion in depth to you, right? It will take some time to solve it, and this video will become very long. But if you want, write it down in comments. I will bring more videos on recursion, maybe data structures or something. Even, I was planning a course in data structures. Let me know if you want a course on data structures. I would make a course on data structures where I'll cover everything, right? It's very important, right? Very, very important. All the big companies, right? You already know them: Amazon, Flipkart, D, Shaw, all of them, Uber, Microsoft, Amazon. Everybody is good. Like, they want people to have good data structure skills. Okay, so this is what you do. You have basically updating the children, and then you have to recurse it to update the children of children. So something like this. So now this is the second problem statement. I have solved it. Till here, if you solve it, if you are SD1, then probably you might be selected. If you are a SD2 or senior software engineer, you will not be selected till here, right? You have to solve the third problem statement also. The third one is, if I suppose select lemon and orange, my citrus should also be selected automatically, right? So basically, see this. If I am selecting, my child 5, child 4, child 3 is also selected, right? See this. It is automatically selected, right? So if I am unchecking child 5, see, all the parents are unselected. So something like this, right? Child 4, child 5. If I am just checking all of them, see this, all the parents are selected. Something like this, right? So basically, right now, if suppose I was clicking on citrus, my orange and lemon were selected. If I'm unchecking it, it is unchecking. If I check lemon and orange, my citrus should also be checked. Okay, so this is what we need to build. So how will we build that? Basically, we'll have to update the state once again. And this can be a little tricky. A hacky solution is coming to my head, but let me take a moment and think about it once. So how we'll do that? Seriously, right? Sometimes this is a little tricky for me as well. I'm solving it right away. So updating the children's were straightforward. But suppose if I'm checking the orange, right? So how would I know whether the lemon is, because see, this checkbox is, understand a very small thing that is coming to my head right now. How this checkbox, suppose if I am clicking on orange, that means I am on that, see this checkbox component is for that orange. It does not know about your outside environment. It does not know whether your lemon is selected or not, what is the parent. So there are two solutions which are coming to my mind. Either I can keep a track of parent, right? So I can keep a track of parent. So I can pass in parent, something like that. Suppose if I'm checking on orange, I also want to know what my parent node is. That way I can solve it. So basically, whenever I am checking my orange, I should also know what my parent is. And then their parent and something like that. I should know the data of hierarchy. The second solution which is coming to my head is that whenever any item is getting checked over here, suppose I am checking orange. So just check for all the elements over here and check mark all the parent nodes which have all the children present. So basically it's very tough for me to explain also as a teacher, but wait for a while, right? Let me just explain you. What I am trying to solve is whenever any item is checked, whenever there is a on change event that happens, check on all my tree, and if all children are checked, check the parent. Basically mark the parent as checked. Mark the parent as checked. Basically this is what I want to do. If all my children are checked, mark the parent as checked. Suppose, see, if I am clicking on citrus, check for the whole tree. If I am checking lemon, check for the whole tree. If any of the, any of these, so basically what it will do is, it will check for fruits. It will check for, see, what algorithm that I have to write is, I will check for fruits. I will go from the top one by one. If I will check for fruits, all the children are checked or not. I will check for citrus. Is citrus checked? Is berries checked? If, and then once my, so see, for checking if all the children are checked, basically all the immediate children, that means citrus and berries are checked. If citrus and berries are checked, that means I have to mark fruits also as checked. Okay. And similarly, if suppose my citrus is checked, berries is not checked, then I will not mark it. Right. So similarly, if I am checking my fruit, I have to check citrus. If I have to check whether I should check citrus, I will have to check for orange and lemon also. So basically it's a tricky algorithm to write, but it is a bottom up approach that we have to do. So basically in tree, there is a top to bottom that we did over here. This is kind of like a top to bottom approach, but there is a bottom up approach that I want to follow. I will check for each of these node whether all the children, so I will basically see all the children are checked, mark the parent as checked, something like this, right? So basically I will write a function. So I will write that function and let me call that function as verify checked, right? Basically I will verify for the whole tree, verify checked, and this is the function, right? Constant verify function, and I will check over here for a particular verify checked for a particular node. Suppose I have got a node and let us assume this node over here is, right? Let us assume that this node over here is fruits. So what I have to do, when I have to check if my, right, if my all the childrens are selected, right? So basically how would I check my childrens are selected? Are all, how will I check my childrens are selected? Basically I will check for all children. Basically I will do children dot, and then there is a function every, right? In JavaScript you have a function every. So if every child is checked, that means my node should also be checked. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. If every child is checked, how would I check whether the every child of this node is checked? I will loop through all the children's every, and I will check for each child. If my child is checked, how would I find out my child is checked or not? To find child is checked or not, I have to do something like this, right? So basically this is my state over here, new state. So I can just use my new state or previous state of my child dot id, right? Basically if my all the child are checked, so what we have to do is that means all children checked, right? So basically it will return me a boolean. If all my children are checked, so what will I do now, right? Tell me. If all my children are checked, basically see, I'm verifying checked. If all my children are checked, so what will I do is I will update my new state, and I will say my new state of this particular node or the parent, right, of that node of id, node.id, right, node.id is equal to my is checked state, right? So if my is checked state, right, whatever is coming over here is checked, I will just update my node.id, right? Sorry, no. So basically it will be all children checked. Basically it will, suppose, see, if all the children are checked, so my all children checked will be true, and my new state.id will also be true, something like this, right? And now what we'll do is, but there is an issue with this thing, right? So, and then see, if I call this verify checked function, if I call this verify checked function, right, for a particular node, right? Suppose if I want to call this verify checked function for this fruits, how will I call it? And basically I'll have to call it for each of these nodes. So how will I check every time for all the nodes? I can just, suppose, see, I have this data, right? Checkboxes data. So I can just call it for checkboxes data of 0. So that means this verify checked will be called for my fruits, right? But I want to call it for everything. So I can just call this function in a loop. So I can do something like this, right? Checkboxes data dot for each, right? For each checkbox, for each, basically for each parent nodes, I will just call this verify checked function, right? For each node, I will call my verify checked function. For each node, I will call this verify checked function. Okay. So what I am doing is to initiate this function, see, right now we have an array over here, right? And I want to check for all the parents over here. So what I'll do is I'll basically checkboxes data dot for each of these nodes, it will basically verify check for that particular node. So now this will call verify checked function for fruits. It will call verify checked function for tropical. It will call verify checked function for apple. Similarly like that, right? Will this solution work? The answer is no, it will not work, because I know that. And let's just see what happens. If I check this, it's just showing every, right? So basically there are problems with this solution, a lot of problems that I can see. First of all, I am verifying this node, right? I am verifying this fruits. I am verifying tropical apple. But who will verify the children of this node? So I'll also have to check for the children of this node, right? So I'll have to check the children of this node. So what I'll do is, whenever I'm doing a children, right? So what I will do is I will just verify check my children also. So over here, I will do, let me write the code up and let me see if that code works. Then only I will explain it. So basically I will verify check my child over here. And what I'll do is I have verify checked my child. If my child is checked, then select it. And if suppose the child is not there, right? If my child is not, see, and what I'll do is, I will do is, over here is, I will just return my new state.node, right? Return my all children checked. And if my child is not present, if my node.children, suppose if my node does not have children, right? If suppose my node does not have children, let me first complete the code, then I will explain it to you if it works. If my node does not have children, then I'll have to give the present value of that node, right? So probably I will have to give it previous state of that particular node, right? Node.children, right? Basically of that particular node.id. I'll have to return that. So basically I'll have to return my previous node.id. And if my previous node.id does not belong, so I will return just false. Okay, something like this. Let me just try it out. I think this will work. Let me just check it once. So I'm just looping over all the checkboxes over here, all the parent nodes, and I'm checking the node, right? And what I want is, if my node is, see, when I am checking this recursively, so I will reach a point where I am at lemon. So lemon will not have any children. If it does not have children, then return me the value of this lemon. Otherwise, if the children are present, then we'll have to check whether all children are checked. This is the code to check for all children, right? If all the children are checked, then basically I want to check the current node. And cool. I think this should work. Let me just refresh the page. If I'm checking my lemon and orange, it should have checked my citrus also. No, this does not work. Let me just check it once. So what I'm doing is I'm just checked my node. And then I'm just for each node, if for each child, I'm just checking, verifying, check, and all checked. New state is ID. Okay. I think this is what's happening. Let me refresh the page. If I'm checking lemon, so what's happening? It's adding lemon, orange. So citrus should also be checked. So basically what should have happened is it should have, just give me a moment. Let me just check it. Checkboxes.forEach. See, this is what happens. I have not solved this problem before. I am coming directly and solving it, and probably I am running out of time also if I was in interview. I told you, right? It's a tricky problem. Checkboxes.forEach node. For each checkboxes, for each node, I'm checking my verify checked as node. If my particular node is present, I will just check for all the childrens are checked or not. If all the childrens are checked, how will I check? Node.children. I am writing this correctly or not? Let me just see this. Every child, I want to check for verify child, right? Okay. If my node.children is not present, if the node return previous, okay, I think I'll have to put new state over here. Let's see if this works. Cool. Do you see this? Do you see, my dear friends? So because see, previous state is old state, I want to check the current state, the new state, right? So basically according to the new state, see, when I click on lemon, right? So I want the new state to be, I want to read from the new state, not the previous state. Because this previous state is the old state, right? I want to read from the new updated state, okay? So this is what it is. Got it. The issue was here. I think this will work now. If I click on blueberry, strawberry, do you see this? If I click on blueberry, strawberry, it automatically changes. I think we have solved this problem. Cool. Right? Let's verify it once again for all the cases. I have rendered it correctly. If I check my parent, it is checking all the children. If I check my parent, it is checking all the children. If I check my parent, it is checking all the children. If I am checking the children, it is updating my parent. If I'm checking my children, it is updating my parent. If I'm checking my children, it is updating my parent. Cool. This is what the solution was, my dear friends. I know it's tricky. I know that you are confused with this solution. You might be confused, but people who are good with DS or something might have got what I am trying to do over here. Let me explain this once again. Let me refactor the code also for you all. Otherwise, this solution works for me. So what's happening is, see, I am trying to write a function over here. Dekho. What I am trying to do, this much you understood, right? If you did not understand this update children, then go back to the video, watch it once again, this thing. I am just explaining you the logic for the third problem. Lemon, orange, parent should be checked. Okay. So how will that happen? So I am looping over the whole tree. First thing is I am looping over, see, whenever you are checking something, suppose if I am checking on orange, I am looping over fruits and I am checking whether the citrus and berries are checked or not. And then I am checking over orange and lemon are checked or not. And I am using the bottom-up approach, recursion, right? So basically I am using the bottom-up approach. Where is the tree? Something like this, right? So if you know this bottom-up approach, you would understand what I am trying to do. If you don't, then please read it. It will make more sense to you. Here I can explain. See, suppose if I want to check for my parent, whether I should check my parent or not. See, what I'm trying to do with this code is, let me try to explain you in a different scenario now. right? So it's very tough for me also to explain. If I had a paper and a pen or my drawing sheet, I would have explained you a little better. Uh, okay, so let me take some time and explain you also. Maybe let me just open my good notes. Okay, so here I have my good notes. Let me just bring it up over here for you all. Just give me a moment. Right, so something like this. Cool. Here is my good notes. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, listen to me very carefully. This video is going a little longer, but see, this is my tree, right? This is the parent and this is the tree. And when I'm making tree, so understand that, okay, just give me a moment. Understand, when I'm saying fruits, citrus, orange, lemon, so fruits, citrus, and then these are orange and this is lemon. Okay, so what I'm trying to see, so I want to check whether should I check this value, right? Should I tick mark this? I can only tick mark this when this is tick mark and this is tick mark. To find out whether this is tick mark, I want to check whether this is tick mark or this is tick mark. Understood? This is what I want to do. So this is a recursion. So first of all, suppose if I am doing over here, suppose if I am doing verify, okay, so let me make it a color here. So verify basically, okay, I want to change this color to white. It's not visible. I should have prepared before. This is what happens when I just make the videos and I don't prepare it beforehand. Random things happens, right? Teaching is tough. I can just randomly come and teach you. It's a little tough, but I'm trying out, right? If I have planned before, if I have solved this question before, I would have explained you very easily, right? But suppose if I have this verified verify node, right? Or verify checked. Is this what the function is called? Yes, verify checked. So I want to check verify checked of my current node, that is suppose fruits, right? If I check verify node of fruits. So suppose if I want to check verify checked fruits, I want to check, I will have to call over here, right? I have to call verify checked of my citrus. I want to check my verify, I'll have to call, I'll have to call my verify checked of berries, right? And to check for citrus, I will have to check for these children also. So what I'm doing over here is I'm trying to check this for each and every logic, right? So I want to check, should I mark whenever I'm clicking on lemon, right? I have clicked on lemon. So now fruit will check, should I mark this as tick? So to check this, I will have to check, should I mark citrus as checked? If I have to check for citrus, I'll have to check, should I mark this citrus as checked? I'll have to check whether the children are checked or not. So similarly, this is what we are trying to do. Suppose I want to check verify node for fruits, right? So I'll have to basically check for all children checked. Okay. If all of these children are checked, right? And we have some children already. So I'll have to check for their children first, right? And if all the children are checked and it returns me true, so I'll update my true and I will return all children are checked. Okay, so this is how it works. So understand this, maybe do a dry run for this, you will understand it better. So how will the call stack will be? Okay, so let me show you the call stack if I can over here. Can I show you call stack over here? Watch. Can I show you call stack? Okay, this is the call stack, right? Yes, let me show you the call stack if it works, right? This is not visible for you, right? How will I make it visible? Let me just put it over here. Let me just show you the call stack over here. So, and I will just show you call stack of my verify checked, right? Where is my verify checked? Do you have verify checked over here? Oh my God, this is code sandbox. P JS. Okay, I don't think I can. Can I put a debugger either over here? Not paused. Okay, it's not pausing on debugger also. So see, I'm not able to explain you over here. But see, let me explain you without that also. See, let us just think about citrus. See, if I'm checking citrus, so I will check one by one whether I should check fruit or not. How will I check fruit or not? So it should basically check itself, right? It should basically check itself and its children, right? So basically it's checking for all the children of that particular node. Suppose if I am checking for citrus, it will check for all these nodes, right? Uh, and their children also. So this is why I am doing this verify checked. Write it down yourself. You will understand it. Trust me. Try to dry run it. Right now I am not able to show you the call stack. Try to put a debugger over here, right? Breakpoint over here and try to just see what comes into call stack, how this is being called. So you would understand the recursion kind of a thing, right? This video will be very long if I try to explain you or something and I was not ready also. The main aim of this video was to solve this problem. I have solved it. It has taken a lot of time for me to explain it also. Hope you would have liked this solution. If you want me to explain this in a different video with a diagram, then please comment it down. I would love to explain you with diagram also. I'll bring my notebook and pen, right? And then I will explain you by drawing some diagrams. That will be very easier for me. Data structures without pen and paper doesn't happen. Cannot explain it actually, right? So, but this code is very easy. If you try to wrap up your head, you will understand it. Or you can, even if I have to simplify it, I can also write it something like this. Maybe this makes it more readable for you all. Something like this. See, what I'm trying to do, I'm checking for my state. So I will update my current node as tick if all the nodes are ticked. And then I will return whatever the value will be, whether it was checked or not checked, right? So this will also work somehow. And then I will have to check for the base case of recursion. This is kind of like a base case, or I would say when children are not there, this will end the, basically this will end the recursion, right? So this is the base case. Hope this will also work. I will give you the link of this, I will give you the link of this code, right? If you want this code, or maybe just watch this video, try it out yourself and enjoy, right? So, but this is a hard problem. A lot of people might not be able to solve this in an interview if you are not well versed or something. But I want to suggest that if you are going in an interview, please practice it before going to the interview. If it comes in an interview, then you might probably not be able to solve it in a particular time. Okay, so that's all in this video, my dear friends. And if you want more videos in machine coding round of interviews, then please comment down. Each and every comment matters. I read all my comments. If you are liking this series, please write a little bit about your experience. Please comment down. If you comment, YouTube will promote this video even more. Please, each and every comment matters. Write down if you're liking it or not. Tell me in comments. I will read each and every comment. Please, if you have some suggestions for upcoming videos, give it to me. I'll make more videos on it. And thank you so much for watching this video. I know this video has become got very long, but thank you for being patiently waiting for me to complete it. Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode very soon. Bye-bye.